Hello everyone and welcome to SkillCapped. I'm Notorious Dub and today I'm going to be going over one of the biggest skill gaps in all of Valorant, strafe shooting. From that I'm going to be explaining counter strafing, moving while shooting, and all of the different types of peaks that pros are using that all involve using A and D movement keys while setting up for your next shot. And at the end, I'll be wrapping it up with detailing how you can actually work on improving your movement to help incorporate your aim into the game and win more gunfights by using your counter strafing. Before we get into that though, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn those bells on because we here at SkillCapped have a ton more comprehensive premium guides that you're going to want to stay up to date on so you can work your way to the top of that leaderboard. Now first and foremost, I feel like we need to address the elephant in the room. What is counter strafing and why does everyone keep talking about it? Now counter strafing in the most basic sense is holding down the A or the D key to counteract the movement that you have when pressing the other movement key. For instance, you're moving left by pressing A. You then press D to move yourself back right, and that pendulum right in the middle when you're transferring your momentum is the counter strafe. Now, the reason this is such a highly debated issue is very simple. Many of the best players in Valorant are coming from Counter-Strike, and in Counter-Strike you have a much longer deceleration period when you don't counter strafe and you just instead let go of your movement key. Because of this, you're going to want to press the opposite movement key from the one that you were pressing to make you come to a stop faster, and in turn making your first shot accuracy reset to its original position quicker, because movement and accuracy is a thing. In Counter-Strike, there are also a lot of people who would use both movement keys to come to a stop quicker if you didn't actually want to start moving in the other direction instead of just tapping the other movement key. In Valorant though, counter-strafing does not make you come to a stop faster because your character doesn't have that exaggerated deceleration period that requires a opposite movement key to be pressed. This results in the best pros having split habits. We see Wardell continuing to counter-strafe no matter what, and 10 saying that it's not actually necessary. So the debate of learning to counter-strafe when stopping to shoot can be put to rest. But counter-strafing isn't that simple, because counter-strafing is insanely important. And it's one of the techniques that you're going to see from every pro on pistol round and almost every round after that as well. So let's get into the details of it and how it can actually be beneficial for you. Alright, so for the rest of this video, to avoid confusion, I'm going to be referring to counter strafing as strafe shooting because I'm only referring to changing directions with counter strafing and not with stopping by counter strafing. And the entire point of counter strafing is that during that deceleration period that you have whenever you let go of A, and that acceleration period that you then have whenever you press D, during almost that entire period, your bullets are first bullet accuracy accurate. Meaning that mechanically skilled players can string these strafe shots together and be an absolute menace on pistol rounds, or simply reposition themselves mid gunfight to isolate an angle and to keep them safe from their targets' teammates. Now, strafe shooting in general is the ability to take your first shot accurately while you're finishing out your momentum and decelerating. And this is relevant because it allows you to be accurate and mobile as well. So the skill aspect comes in developing the ability to take multiple accurate shots every time you swap a direction. You not only want to be able to swap direction, you want to be able to continue moving in the same direction and every other direction at a drop of a hat while still being able to get shots off accurately. That way you can reposition correctly. And this is one of those skills that can be learned very quickly, but takes a long time to master. So the ultimate goal of strafe shooting is to be able to maneuver yourself and be very light on your feet, while being able to get accurate shots off, because if your aim is limited by your movement, then you will plateau very quickly. But if your movement works well with your aim and helps you get good shots off, that's when major jumps in performance come in. So let's go ahead and get into some specifics. Now, before we talk about the different peaks that come from being able to strafe shoot, we have to talk about strafe shooting as the founder of the next few peaks so you can learn the foundation of the entire thing. So, as we talked about before, strafe shooting is the ability to take shots accurately while on the move by inputting different movement commands. But we can break this down into long strafes and middle strafes or short strafes, whichever one you want to call them. A long strafe is going to be the beginner version of strafe shooting that you're going to want to get comfortable with immediately. This is going to allow you to be very mobile in your gunfights at a very basic level. This is great for taking over sites with cover like C-Long on Haven, where you have to wide swing around something until you see an enemy and then quickly counter strafe back around the box while you're still getting your shots off as accurately as possible. And then we have the more often used fighting counter strafe is the short strafe. This is the happy feet looking movement that allows the pros to not get hit in pistol rounds, and the minor quick reposition that pros use during their gunfights when they need to let their accuracy reset. They're quickly jiggling left and right, only moving their body a little bit to the side each time, and the reason this gets so difficult is because each gun has a different accuracy reset timer, making practicing with that gun the best way to learn how to strafe with it. But let's go ahead and get into the detailed peaks that stem from these foundational movements. So the first peak we have is the shoulder peek. And if you're constantly getting gunned down by oppers, you need to learn this trick immediately. Think of the shoulder peek like a pump fake in basketball. The goal isn't to get a shot off, and the goal isn't to make a game-breaking play. The goal is to catch the enemy off guard. The enemy opper is likely going to take a quick shot early because they see the arm and expect the rest of the body to follow out from around the corner. Now this is actually best case scenario because once an operator misses their first shot and they have to re-peek back into the angle, it becomes way too risky because operators are slow and not actually used very well aggressively. And then the other option for the operator is to not take the shot, which usually results in them being faked out by the shoulder and their reaction time will actually be delayed. In basketball, this is called freezing the defender. And here, we're just freezing the operator. What you're going to be doing here is to take your character model and peek it around the corner just enough to where your shoulder passes the threshold. This allows the enemies to get a good look at the shoulder and expect the rest of the body to follow through. Now this is a very tricky peek because your pressing of A and B has to be very precise, so you don't accidentally over peek the angle and get tagged, and you don't want to under peek the angle and do nothing as well. Now we see pros do this in nearly every round in pro play because even if it doesn't work, you have to keep the operator player off guard and guessing. You have to force them to predict your movement and make a good shot. Being predictable is the biggest downfall for most players, and we see areas like A long on Haven as the playground for shoulder peeks. And an angle like that, which is a hot spot for operators, can easily be shoulder peeked 2 to 3 times around, so whenever you finally decide to peek for the aim battle, the operator is frozen and has reduced reaction times. Now an advanced version of this peek includes air strafing. This is where the player runs towards an angle, jumps and air strafes around and comes back, and still attempts to show barely any of his body, but also reduces the chances of him being tagged. So all in all, whenever you combine all of these peeks and mix-ups over and over, you can be a huge thorn in the sides of enemy oppers, or just enemies who hold tight angles and you want to catch them off guard. And then next up we have jiggle peeking. So jiggle peeking is the next step in shoulder peeking because you're taking it a bit further and getting deep enough where you can actually see past the angle and scout out the area. This is by far the most effective way to aggressively peek angles because it allows you to isolate angles so well. Now take B site on Haven for instance. You can jiggle peek from the very bottom of mid to clear out the entrance to B site and make sure that no one's posted there. Then you can walk your way up and jiggle peek the right side to make sure no one is posted there, and do the same for the left side as well. All the while you're making yourself exposed to almost no extra angles, you're getting full peeker's advantage, and you allow yourself the ability to retreat very safely if you do see an enemy in an unfavorable advantage. And the biggest benefit of jiggle peeking is the strafe shooting that we were talking about earlier. This is because halfway through your jiggle peek, your bullets are fully accurate, meaning you can get 2 to 3 shots off nearly for free and pick up easy kills all because you've been practicing your jiggle peeks. And a well-practiced player will routinely hit shots when jiggle peeking, or at least use the jiggle peek to pre-fire the angle for them. But either way, the tool is just about necessary when playing for map control and not just rushing a site every round. So finally, let's talk about practice. I'm going to break this down into 3 steps to keep it fairly simple, and this is the way that most people learn how to strafe shoot in Counter-Strike as well. So to start with, in order to develop the very basics, you're going to want to stand in front of a wall with some obstacle in the middle like this archway. The goal is to walk left to one side of the obstacle, swap directions and get an accurate shot off, then walk right, swap directions and get another accurate shot off. You're going to repeat this until it becomes almost second nature, and you have the timing down without worrying about moving the mouse or being accurate. This is the foundation of the movement, so when learning this movement, focus solely on this for at least 15 minutes a day to learn the pattern. And feel free to make this easier if you need to by only shooting on one side of the pole each time. And then second off, we're going to be working in a little bit of mouse movement as well. So this time, instead of shooting on each side of the obstacle, You're going to be doing the exact same thing, but shooting the center of the obstacle over and over instead. This way, you're going to be learning the pattern while also using your mouse to be accurate. Now, when learning this, I would recommend that you spend at least 15 minutes a day on this alone. As you get better and better, you're going to want to strafe shorter and shorter and tighter together to optimize your strafes just that much more. And then finally, when you have both of the previous steps incorporated, we're going to incorporate different targets and shooting. So for this, go to the back of the gun range to practice on the robots and start strafe shooting all over the place. Here, you should actually be working on freestyling your strafes. Do it a little bit unconventionally because you have to learn to be quick with your fingers in game and be instinctual. You should be practicing short strafes and long strafes, flicking, forward and backward counter strafing, and anything else that just feels right to you in the moment, because the goal is to get yourself to operate your counter strafes off of instinct. This way, in the middle of a fight, you don't have to think about where you want to go or how your fingers are going to get you there. You just have to do it because you've already instilled this instinct in yourself. But all in all, the biggest thing that you have to incorporate into your practice and improvement is dedication, because learning to counter strafe effectively takes a lot of time to master. And the best way to keep yourself up to date and mastering these skills is to subscribe to SkillCapped with those post notifications on, because we're dedicated to keeping you up to date with our comprehensive premium guides. As always, make sure you leave me a comment down below letting me know if this video helped you in any way and what you want to see from me next. As always, I want to say thank you for spending this little bit of your day with us, and thank you for watching. I'm Notorious Dub, signing off.